It was just a couple of evenings ago that Evans Mensah sat down with Professor Frimpong Boateng. They had an extensive conversation, and all the key questions were put to him. His answers were fascinating. Let's listen to some excerpts of that interview.
I don't know the legal definition. Maybe yes, but maybe not. I'm on bail. So the background is that I think on the 13th or 14th of May, I received a letter from the special prosecutor to appear before him. I should report at 10 a.m. on the 16th of May, which I did. The letter said that they were investigating corruption and corruption-related activities of the IMCIM. I was a little bit disturbed.
And ICIM is Inter-Ministerial Committee Against Illegal Mining.
Yes. I thought that they were going to talk about how to stop galamsey and all these things. But anyway, so I went there and waited at the lobby. When my lawyer was in, we were ushered to the 7th floor where the office of the special prosecutor was. I was ushered into a room, given a seat, and next to me, on my right, were my lawyers, and opposite me was the senior or the principal investigator. I think that was the title, and some officers from that office. So as soon as I sat down, the chief investigator walked over to me, put his left hand on my shoulder, and said, "You are under arrest." I said, "Why am I under arrest? What are my charges?" Well, no specific charges, but we are investigating corruption and corruption-related activities of the IMCIM, that is the committee I chaired. And he asked whether I was ready to answer some questions. I said, well, I'll do my best to answer the questions. So I was asked a lot of questions. Took about 2 hours, or a little bit over 2 hours. And after that, I was told that I had to be bailed before I'll be released. I was not offered the opportunity of self-recognizance bail. So a friend of mine was at the lobby, so he came up and bailed me, and I left. And I was told that if the need arose, I'll be invited back to the office. So that's what happened. And of course, some officers from the OSPs went to see my friend's place where he was staying to make sure that if I absconded, they will be able to get hold of my friends to produce me before the court. Yeah. So this is what happened.
What was the sum, the bail sum, the conditions attached to it?
I was told 2 million cedis or so, if I'm not mistaken.
2 million cedis. Did they also send a team to your house?
No, they did not come to my house.
But they verified the residential address of your friend who had bailed you out. Okay. And the questions that they asked you, what did it relate to?
Relate to everything that we did at the IMCIM, but I'm not sure whether I can go over those questions because this is a prosecutor, they're investigating, and I don't feel comfortable, going over the questions. So if you will permit me, but it was a broad-based question, a lot of questions on many topics, and I answered as best as I could, and so that was it.
Okay. They had invited you, so this is you honoring the invitation to go to the special prosecutor's office that day with your lawyers?
Yes.
Okay, but in the letter that was inviting you, has it been specified that you're going to be assisting, or you're going to be a person of interest?
Person of interest.
Person of interest.
Something like that.
Okay. Around the work that related to the Inter-Ministerial Committee on Legal Mining.
Yes.
Today, we had heard and reported that it had to do with some expenditure around the IMCI's work, more than 300 million cedis that had been spent on drones, etc. Did anything like that come up in these questions?
I didn't hear the figure of 300 million, but a lot of questions about drones and other things. As I said, I'm not very comfortable going over because they're investigating, and they took notes, they did recording, so of what took place. So The important thing is that I was invited there, I was questioned, and I answered the questions as best as I could.
There's a real possibility that you will be prosecuted.
They're fine.
It's not daunting at all?
No, why?
You're not scared?
No, I'm not scared. Why should I be scared?
The possibility that you may actually be convicted?
Yes. What kind of possibility? I don't see it. But if that is how, look, in this life, even the Son of God, Jesus Christ, the sinless one, was convicted and killed. As we go along in life in this country, others who have the power now or who have the influence now should know that at some point they should also they will held accountable for what they are doing.
Do you feel you're being victimized?
I think so.
Why do you think so?
What have I done wrong in this country? If 0.001% of people behave like what I've done, this country will not be the way it is. I built a whole hospital, trained people, Ghanaians, heart surgeons, trained people from Nigeria, Ethiopia, changed Kolebu after Gurgisberg and Nkrumah. Frimpong Boateng was the person who added structures and systems to Kolebu, with internally generated funds, not money from the government.
So yeah, some very interesting details there shared by
Prof.
Yes, Prof. Now, I mean, listen. Let's make certain things clear. The Special Prosecutor's Office has the mandate to do what they are doing, which is to investigate corruption. The Special Prosecutor's Office has the power to direct people to attend interviews or interrogations at their offices. And they most certainly have the legal right to arrest and grant bail to any person they deem necessary to do so. And that's what has happened here. So this is not about whether something illegal or wrongful has happened. The question is, what does it all mean? We have a certain climate, a certain thing is going on. The whole nation is in a battle for its life against something called galamsey. And in that battle, this particular individual has named people in the government in which he himself served, has named them as being responsible for some of the damage caused by galamsey. And everything he has said has been ignored by this government. The people he has named have come under some attack from the public. So it would be the easiest assumption for someone to imagine that some means will be used to put pressure on Professor Frimpong Boateng. It then becomes important for an institution like the Special Prosecutor's Office to do whatever it can to ensure that it doesn't become the assumption or suspicion of the public that they are being used to put pressure on Professor Frimpong Boateng. It is their responsibility to do whatever they can to avoid that conception. Have they done enough?
Mostly, a constitutional body or a body of law certainly would be interested in performing its role, no matter whose ox is God. So you would expect that generally they would invite people, they would arrest people, regardless of the climate, because that's their job. And if every day you think about what others may say about your duty, you are less likely to perform it. But the circumstance surrounding this one is what made it interesting for many people, especially at the time that many of the people that have been named, even though this same document is supposedly under investigation at different levels, had not been arrested, had not been invited, there's not been any commentary on them. And at the time that we know what has happened to our fight against galamsey, this is the Republic of Ghana, where an entire ministry did a press conference and told everybody that we've asked, despite all the videos we have seen, we've asked the Forestry Commission to do some investigation. Then around the same time, they were removing every single piece of evidence that you can actually have on video, live camera work, away
Burning
from
evidence.
Yes. So when you extrapolate that to what has really happened to our fight against galamsey, the people that have been openly, unashamedly involved at different levels, those that have been named, requiring a certain media coalition or civil society people to submit petitions for specific individuals and groups to be investigated to different levels. Then they keep passing it left, right, center. If you put all of that together, it is difficult to dismiss the issues surrounding this particular matter. When did we take the view that the man ought to be invited or ought to be interrogated? At what point in time do we conclude that we have enough to charge him or arrest him or do any other things close to that? Is it the very best of decisions to make? Because investigative bodies and anti-corruption institutions will have to make decisions. They have discretionary powers they have to exercise. My constitution says it should be fair, candid, and reasonable in the exercise of these discretionary powers. So all of those will come under scrutiny. They may be just mere coincidences and all of that, but they'll still come under scrutiny. And the person who's been invited has absolutely every right to read meanings into them. Because this is, again, Ghana, where we choose to chase the people who are doing the right thing and aid the people who really are doing the wrong. I'm not saying that's what's happening in this case. In fact, it is to establish whether or not Professor Frimpong Boateng has done any wrong at all. And he's not above the laws of this country. He might be a wonderful surgeon, but a proper democracy ensures that there's rule of law. And the rule of law insists that everybody can be subjected to the legal procedures of the state. So that's not the defense here. But one will be acting the proverbial ostrich if you ignore the circumstances surrounding what has happened with Professor Frimpong Boateng. The people he named, the powerful people, the people who are believed or truthfully known to be controlling the state in very varied forms, and the back and forth with those people. If you extend it to even the quarters, to some people, he just embarrassed the government and set back the quest to actually push forward the fortunes of this government going into the future. So he became somewhat of a threat to the continual existence of the agenda of the government in place today. Some way, somehow, there is history to suggest that when people take this position or take this posturing, they are dealt with differently. Nobody can dismiss the fact that a similar thing might have happened or indirectly happened in the case of Daniel Dobbelevo. You were here, right, Kojo? The man was being investigated, age, number of days on leave, and to the extent that we were so convinced, we were so happy that we were compelling people who says, yeah, I can still work, to no, you need to go on leave because we need to investigate. And we did a lot of investigation. We determined nationality, we determined age, we determined all of the other things, and yet concluded finally that he needed just to go on leave. Even procurement processes that was under his purview, but he was not directly involved, were still investigated. If you put all of that together, the presumption is that there are some people, when you decide to go against certain elements of state Ghana, there are problems, and you are taking on. So that is the background which you somehow are suspicious of the conduct of any relevant state institution, even if they are performing their legitimate roles. But why? With time, we'll get to the bottom of this matter. I'm just hopeful that when anybody takes the view, when any government institution or any relevant state institution takes the view that I have done something that ought to be investigated or perused or properly, you choose the legitimate processes of states. Due process is respected, and you protect the human rights of the people involved. It doesn't have to be seen as witch hunting. It doesn't have to be done with the Rambo style or whatever characterization that goes along with that. Those things do not add anything to any proper investigation. And in any case, maybe I'll end on this point. I'm just hoping we should get to the point that when we are inviting or doing some of these things, the funny part, there were some times people were discussing a recent case And people say, but the person has been around for God knows how long. Then the UK police said, oh, we have been investigating this matter for 2 years. We have not come to the point where we think we have enough to charge. That's why we arrested the person. But you know the opposite happens in the Republic of Ghana, right? It's as if they are arresting you to prevent you from committing a crime when you're not committing any crime at the time. So, I mean, we should be mindful of all of this environment that we find ourselves in, but that cannot prevent any legitimate institution or state from doing their work anyway.
So this is the question I wanted to ask, and I'd love to hear your answer on that, Vincent. So the Office of the Special Prosecutor has taken the posture that what we're doing is legal. It's our mandate. We have the the remit to do this. We don't have to explain ourselves to anybody. We don't have to come and explain why we arrested Professor Frimpong Boateng. He's a citizen. He's under investigation. We arrested him. We bailed him. We invited him. We arrested him. We bailed him. End of story. We don't have to explain it to anybody. But there is a school of thought that says this is a circumstance that is unique, happening at a time that is unique.
Yeah.
And for that reason, as part of their job, they should ensure that they don't do things in a way that creates difficulties for them that are unnecessary. So it would have been better for them to have explained what they are doing, because in the end they are serving the public. Then the public have a right to know why they do certain things.
Well, you see, so the thing with a lot of these processes, and let's put on record that the Office of the Special Prosecutor wrote to Professor Frimpong Boateng to attend to the office for investigations.
Yeah.
And Raymond, you've studied law, so it wasn't for him to come there and just act as a witness. He was a subject of investigation. If you read the letter, and the letter says you can come with a counsel of your choice. What I do know is that when you are arrested, you'll be told why you are arrested. That's what I know. I don't know what may have happened in Professor Frimpong Boateng's case. I'm sure it would have been explained to him that these are the reasons why you've been arrested. And they put out, I've heard, the talk about some investigations concerning 320 million Ghana cedis budget for the Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining, its expenditure, missing excavators here and there and all of that. The challenge in all of this is the timing of the special prosecutor's investigations in the first place. Now, if you were investigating this right from October, I know that you could even investigate for 2 years before inviting him.
Yeah.
But in a polarized country like ours, the timing is very wrong. You can make the argument also that, but if we always want to look at these things, then we would never do anything.
They cannot do our work because
We can't do
every
our work
time
because
the political circumstances may dictate that we don't do one thing or the
would
other.
never change. So when you started, and this is the point, when Charles Bissue was invited by the Martin Amidu administration, he had indicated, Charles, that he mentioned Professor Frimpong Boateng's name.
That's true.
So Professor Frimpong Boateng's name has been with the special prosecutor all this while.
Way back.
When the special prosecutor indicated in October that it was investigating the Interministerial Committee against on illegal mining, that was great. That would let you know that anybody could be invited at that point in time. Now, the time Professor Frimpong Boateng's letter came out, we discussed it and everything. Then after that, you invite him to attend to you for investigation and you arrest him. Ordinarily, for me, that's nothing really. That's standard procedure. You come in there, you're under arrest, you're granted bail, you move, you go back to your house. So that's it. But again, the timing sometimes may create the impression that, okay, I'm doing this, we are doing this. So I can understand where people are coming from. And let me state where my position is. I can understand where people are coming from that, oh, why this time? But I say, why not this time? And you have made the point, Raymond. In the advanced jurisdictions, they say we are investigating. They will investigate and investigate and investigate. In fact, there are instances where they don't even mention your name.
That's true.
When you are invited to the police, your name is not mentioned. It's only in a part of the world that they are not done with investigations. Then they take you to court, then they go and charge you, and they will drop the charges, And out there, they charge you, the media will publish it. And so whenever they search your name pops up as if you committed a crime. And in no time.
And there's no publication that concludes that, oh, he was finally let go.
Exactly. So, to be very honest,
tomorrow, you be the one explaining to people all the time whenever they meet you, oh, but when we saw this case, what happened? Then you are explaining that, oh, they couldn't pursue it any longer.
So, to be very honest with you, if, Prof himself had not come out, all of these had not come, that I was arrested and all that, we wouldn't have even known. It would have just been standard procedure.
I think there's a vacuum, right? Kojo, if I could make this point quickly. I think there's a vacuum. The time he was truly, properly arrested, and the time he came out. Between the days, between the weeks, and because the timeline, yes, the timelines don't make sense to me. Coming to the conclusion that I think, okay, of course, you can see that some people leaked that information that he's been arrested and he's actually been invited and arrested. Now, when the special prosecutor invited him, Prof had indicated he will make himself available for the special prosecutor. In fact, it was very public, right? We didn't know what had happened in the conversation. But from what we are hearing today, it was at that time that he was arrested.
Yeah.
But the information about his arrest came out later on.
Yeah.
Almost a month later.
Yes, so what then happened? What precipitated the need to have that conversation a month later? Whose interest does it serve that this is in the open? Because, of course, the invitation was in the open, so appreciably, the conversation that I'll go, I will not go, is also in the open. He didn't go to court to challenge that. He didn't pursue any case. He went to them. We didn't get to know that it was that time that he was arrested. I hope you are getting my point. Something certainly must happen in between that time for it to now be an issue of importance.
So let me tell you what may have happened between that time, because I've also been doing a few checks.
Okay.
And so some persons got to know of this and felt that, no, you're being victimized.
Oh, okay.
So you have to put this out there. Because it's beginning to look like you're the target now because of what you said. And you see, in doing these analysis, we'll look at all the things that have been said over the period.
Yeah.
From all those who said this was Professor Frimpong Boateng's own explanation because he had not gotten any position. And again, you see, I raised the timing question. But for all of these comments, timing would not have been of any importance today. But because of all the things that were said against him, and even how we run our institutions here, there's that perception.
And the reaction of state,
yes.
proper ministers, deputy ministers to this document, to the very things he has said before, and even those non-state actors who rarely were also riled up by this.
So it looks like for those who are concerned, they are beginning to reasonably infer that this could be an attempt to witch hunt the old professor. And if that is the case, then it's time the professor went to town with what really transpired.
Right.
And that is when this issue came out there.
Okay.
So that's when I got,
right.
Which
would
then mean the Special Prosecutor's Office is caught up in that particular web.
Right. Now, this is the thing this is the point that I've been trying to make about the approach of the Office of the Special Prosecutor. You see, sometimes we all get carried away and we think that the legal consideration is the only consideration in all matters. It is not. So, you might be an office that deals primarily in legal activities. You are the Office of the Special Prosecutor. But you have a public relations department. The public relations department is not only concerned with legal matters. They are concerned with matters of education, matters of promoting your image, of protecting your image. They are concerned with matters of morality. There are other matters that become important depending on which department or which aspect of your business is being engaged. So it is not only whether the thing is legal or not that matters. You don't simply proceed with something because that is the procedure. That is business as usual. That is the procedure for investigating. But investigating is not the only thing your office does. Your office must also inform the public. Your office must also educate the public. That is also a mandate given you, not only to do legal things. So how did you engage on the aspect of education and information when it came to this case? Was there any thinking around that? Did you really think that arresting Professor Frimpong Boateng at a time when his report has been leaked, at a time when the public is talking about him naming other members of government, at a time when those members of government are fighting back, at a time when we are being told that even the president himself was informed that his forestry, what's it called, the head of his forestry commission is the biggest threat to Ghana's forests, and nothing was done.
Yeah.
At the time that we are
right
being
before
told,
the man who's been accused, right
at the
before.
time that we are being given such incendiary details and the public is engaging on it, you, the office of the special prosecutor, an investigation that you started last year, you have decided at this point, and no one is even asking why this became the right time to invite him. The evidence that you have, how long have you had it? The evidence based on which you arrested and bailed him, how long have you had it?
Because we believed it's perfectly within your discretionary powers to
Absolutely.
do so.
So if you decide to do it at this time, it is important that you avoid any it is part of your job. Don't just say it's business as usual. Nothing is business. There must be thinking around everything. Everything you do, there must be thinking around it. So you must ask yourself, what are the implications? We are doing our job, but if we do our job, what are the possible downsides? What could possibly go against us? How do we mitigate it?
Except if your intention was also to add up to the thinking that, well, you could equally be treated like the suspect here, and that you being a suspect can be elevated. So in this country,
So to sort of balance.
Yes. So you have made allegations. You have made very, very serious allegations in the document to show to people that you yourself, you are a subject of similar investigation. We arrest you, and then possibly that would lead to people reducing your believability on that level. So at some point, the thinking is that, oh, even he has done some things. Because, see, in the Republic of Ghana, Winston, you don't need the truth to always convince people. Sometimes you'll be shocked how rumors, mere thoughts of how things could have gone one way or the other. An arrest is not a declaration of guilt. You are not guilty. You are deemed innocent until proven guilty in a court of competent jurisdiction. But, Kojo, you'll be shocked how many people do not believe this. That merely because they say there's an accusation of this sort against you, immediately there are some that are going to conclude, of course, he's not a saint himself. So you see, he has done a lot of things in this particular area, except that could be your intention by bringing it up and try to even the play. They say, okay, okay.
You see, so I've been doing some, I told you I've been finding out a lot of things about what really may have happened. And from my gatherings, from the discussions I may have had, from the sources I may have contacted. Now, they say they've been doing this investigation for some time now. Okay. So the time he was asked to attend to the special prosecutor was when the office of the special prosecutor felt that it had enough evidence to get him to attend to them. And they say that when Professor Frimpong Boateng went there, the evidence that had been gathered against him was shown to him. And this was strong evidence. It was only based on that they said he was under arrest and granted bail. So they're telling you, look, if you are to speak to Professor Frimpong Boateng today, and if he was to tell you really what transpired there, but for he coming out to say, this is what happened to me, the office was going to deal with him professionally. Nobody would know that the office had done that to him until it decides to take a case to court against him. And for the office, they're not doing this because it's a witch hunt or anything. It's because as part of their investigations, they have substantial, in fact, enough evidence to then say, Professor, you are under arrest and investigations will continue. You have then decided to go and put this out Because if you hadn't brought it out, we would have just continued with our work. Nobody would have even known that you've been arrested.
So your source has confirmed my point.
That
The fact that your source is now having to explain after the fact all these details to you, it enforces.
no, they explained to Professor because he was supposed to be
No,
explained
I'm
to
saying I'm talking about
everything that was happening
no,
to
I'm
him.
talking about what you have just outlined right now. Okay, what your source has, the information your source has given you, that you have just outlined for us right now. It enforces the fact that if they had handled it as not a business as usual at the time he was arrested, and made sure that, like they have done in other cases,
Because this, see, I mean, sometimes we cannot be beaten about it. This is not the first time the Special Prosecutor's Office has actually arrested, invited people, and put out there.
Yes,
in the open.
put a
Yes,
statement out.
they've done so
They've
so
done
many
it
times.
many times.
That this
So-
gentleman has now been arrested.
Thank
We are
you.
looking for this gentleman. What's the name?
Thank you.
Some time ago, they even actually issued some what do you call it? Was it not arrest warrant? They wanted notice or something like that, looking for a very popular person. It happens all the time. When they convert that invitation to arrest, they also tell us all the time.
So that's the point. The fact that he is now having to chase the discussion, the debate with facts and details, it means that if they had done it from the beginning, there would have been no speculation. Everybody would have understood.
You know, my,
You see-
I get where you're coming
yeah.
from, but my understanding of the work of the special prosecutor also, and I've known people who have gone to the special prosecutor. In fact, I know people's cases where it's reached today that is not in the public. They've gone there, Raymond. I mean, off air, I'll mention names to you. I know people who have been to the special prosecutor. There's been discussions, and they've had discussions about plea bargaining and everything. As I speak, we're not aware of them, right? Because they've not reached a conclusion. So they're not going to tell you anything. There are people who have been arrested. They've been granted bail. Their cases are ongoing. They're not going to tell you anything.
Yes.
When they show up at court, before they go to court, then they will now make the announcement and say, we are going to court.
Yeah.
So, you know, in their own procedures, all I'm saying is that based on what I have seen and persons who have gone there, some of whom have actually told me that we've gone to the special prosecutor, there are instances where people have gone to the special prosecutor. They've been arrested. That is not out there in the public domain.
Granted. And that is business as usual.
Yeah.
That is their procedure, like you correctly said. Their procedure. My question is, why did they decide to follow the business as usual procedure in this case when there are clear extenuating circumstances? The man did a press conference before he came to see you. He went to tell the public that he has been invited as a witness. You know that's not the case. So obviously, you know that once he goes and says that, and then he comes for this interview, it will create a certain public perception which you know is not correct. And you say you are doing business as usual. Why? Do you not see a problem there to cure? Why would you decide that this should also be dealt with the way you deal with all others? When you have seen the obvious threat to your reputation and the job that you are doing by the man putting out a press statement, because he understood that he's being invited as a witness. So he's put that out. But you know that's not the case. You see what I mean? So say something. Say something.
There was a reason,
like you have in the past.
There was a reason why, when we put together the law for the special prosecutor, we made room for it to publish reports.
Yes.
Reports half yearly. Which issues are you dealing with? What's the status and the progress of some of these issues? They are important because that office has another important role, letting the people of this republic believe that it is fighting corruption and making it a costly adventure for people not to engage in. We cannot dismiss that. And if you have done things like tell us who you are actually looking for, who is on your arrest list, and all of that in times past, there is nothing wrong in telling us that we have advanced this matter to this level. So, I mean, and I'm saying we got to know that Professor has been invited by the special prosecutor. It was not hidden. So, another step of an arrest happening at the time he actually appeared will not be a big problem, because you need to manage it, more importantly because of the environment we have all described here. But going forward, it is the core of the problem is that people don't trust
State
that
institutions.
Yes, that state institutions will be impartial, will do their work without influence and control. They will not be used to witch hunt and also pursue people who are deemed to have done things or be enemies of some people specifically. That is the core of the problem. And so it imposes on you an extra duty to make sure that you look out for any elements that may subject your office or the people who are acting in those offices to the thinking that, yet another institution being used.
That is my view precisely.
But I mean, and once he came out, you saw the office actually showing you the letter that it.
Brilliant.
I mean,
So
and the letter says, this is you attending to us, not that you've been invited as a witness. I mean, these are investigations concerning you.
Sorry, but who speaks for the Office of Special Prosecutor today?
That's a very good question. That's a very good question.
They have a PR unit. I know they have a Facebook page that's very functioning.
Yeah.
They issue letters.
So clearly, there are people working in that unit.
Yeah. So who speaks for the Office of Special Prosecutor? Because some of these things, you need a clarity as early as possible so that it doesn't sink in, because this is the Republic of Ghana. Truth may be hidden for so long that it doesn't sound like truth again, even if it comes out. So you need to be proactive in dealing with some of these matters. That is, if your intention is clearly to do your work without control and without influence, and to do your work dispassionately.
Listen, let's take a break. When we come back, why don't you tell us what you think about these recent developments? Okay, these things are being done in your name, so what you think about it is very important. Claude is in Tema. Hi, Claude. Good morning.
Good morning, Kojo, Winston, and Ray. How are you doing?
We're all great,
fine.
Thank you.
Yes. Kojo,
yes, sir.
I felt so heartbroken, so disappointed when I heard that the professor had been arrested. You ask yourself, for what? Somebody who has sacrificed his life, set up a cardio unit, his love for environment, and then comes into government, and this is how he's treated. It's just unfortunate. Psychologically, emotionally, if you tell somebody he's arrested, when he doesn't know he's going to be arrested, the person can go into shock and anything can happen to the person. I think it is very bad. But galamsey is still going on in our river bodies, in the forest reserves. Which DCE, which MCE, which regional minister has been invited to answer for what is happening in their regions or in their districts? None of them have been invited. But this man who has brought a report commissioned by the president, you invite him against his report or against what? Asante Hini distilled one of the chiefs. I don't know exactly which one. But what is the president doing about those regional ministers where galamsey is going on in their districts? He should follow Asante Hini's example. Dismiss them, sack the DCs, MCs, and I think people will sit up. Thank you very much.
Thank you for calling us, Claude. We'll stay in Tema and talk to Ni. Hi, Ni. Good morning.
Yeah, hello. Good morning, Kojo. How are you?
Not bad at all, Ni. Thanks for calling us.
Okay, I'm good. But if the special prosecutor cannot arrest Ekowewusi and can arrest Professor Frimpong Boateng, then we know the Ghana we are in. No problem.
Well, they've
We are
arrested
all watching. We are watching, and we are watching. They should keep on doing what they are doing. But if Shema Wuntumi can even walk free, and this man will be arrested, they are watching. That's cool. No problem. Have a good day.
Thank you, Ni. Ekowewusi was arrested
Yes.
as part of the investigation into his excavator matters. All right, Ni is in Achimota. Hi, Ni. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Joe. Joe, I've been following you for a very long time. And it's like this Prof. Frimpong Boateng's issue is becoming a major issue again. Look, it seems, from all that you discussed, it has been under investigation for a very long time, isn't it? And so, can I say that probably, allegedly, he leaked that report when he saw that the noose was closing on his neck. And now he was arrested for 1 month before coming out. Look, let's face facts. Let's allow the OSP to do its job. The conspiracy theories are too much. It's a game. And so let's allow him to play, to do whatever he wants to do. And when he gets to court, we'll see the fact of the whole thing. We can't play on emotions the way we are doing. Thank you.
Thank you. You're right. Conspiracy theories are too much. But that is your view as well. Your own theory of what might have happened. Thank you for sharing. Edward is in West Airport. Hi, Edward. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. So let me have a quick take on this. First of all, the two issues, the interview by Evans as a minister of state who has exited, he provided handing over notes. That is one. Two, all the expenditure that was made by this IMCM or whatever it's called are public financing. So I'm expecting that since we are in 2023, a public accounts committee or the Auditor General's report to the Public Accounts Committee would have captured all these expenditures on drones and whatever. Someone who has exited, how do you expect him to come to you with official documents? All these documents are sitting at the ministry. So if you want these official documents, you have to summon the ministry, bring the official documents, his handing over notes and everything, and then you interrogate it. These are what has to be done. But the way this thing is being done, it's I don't know.
Okay, Edward, thank you for sharing. Shall we go to Jamestown? Hello, Selom.
Good morning.
Good morning.
With this issue, I don't know whether our Ghanaian system has been set up to reward mediocrity. The reason why I'm saying that it's as if you are doing the right passing through procedures to get people to get the actual fact of things that are happening. Things that are of common knowledge to all of us. We know that these things are happening. Somebody presents a report. The report has been there. Nobody was acting on it. Until he has to come out and speak on it. When he spoke on it, now before special prosecutor now knows that he has to go and arrest the people. We all know what is happening. Are you getting it? People like Frimpong Boateng, people who have fed this country, done a lot of things. How much money that selling one piece of your disease to Frimpong Boateng? The person has been writing. The same way we victimize Dominic. After removing him, now a court comes forth. It's an the person. What sort of system are we listening? Even a common headline in one of the papers, ridiculing and mocking a whole professor. I don't know how you want us to do. Goodbye.
Thank you for calling, Selom. Freddie is in Mamprobi. Hi, Freddie. Good morning.
Good morning, Kudu. Yes, yeah. I have a different opinion.
Okay.
We all know that, Prof, no one can compare what he's done in terms of his ability to, even heal hearts and all that. But anyone who is invited by any office of state authority, he respectfully ought to honor the invitation. He need not to, continue telling us what he has done and what we hope he will do. I am hoping that government will even give him another opportunity, maybe in Kumasi, to establish a bigger heart hospital. That notwithstanding, he ought to exercise patience, keep quiet, get a lawyer. Anytime he is invited, he should go. If he is innocent or if he's supposed to give account, he should go ahead and give the account. And that will be all. Nothing will be done. Nothing bad will happen to him. I wish him all the best.
Thank you, Freddie. Thanks very much for calling. And listen, maybe we have time for one more call, just one more call. So you know the numbers 0302 216 541 055 1111 997. We're talking about Professor Frimpong Boateng's recent, I say recent, but it's been almost a month now.
Yeah.
Arrest by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. He was bailed immediately. And it's all in relation to the corruption investigation into activities of the Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining. Professor Frimpong Boateng was the chair of that committee in his capacity as Minister for Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation, appointed by the President. This was all part of what the President said he was doing to put his presidency on the line in the fight against galamsey. As you easily surmise for yourself, galamsey is the biggest threat to our environment and the future of our nation right now. Kwesi is in Adenta. He's our last caller. Hi, Kwesi.
Oh, good morning.
Good morning to you, brother.
I think the professor should just be quiet, like the last caller said. Get a lawyer, present his case. That'll be fine. All the other things that people are saying, to me, are sentiment. You just present the facts to the people and everything will be fine. That's all. No matter what he has done, he'll be safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Kwesi. And thanks to all of you who called us. Claude, Nee, the other Nee, Edward, Selom, Freddie, and our last caller, Kwesi. We appreciate you all ever so much.